My God, that was stressful. But it's a great day to hate a Gator. It always is. This is the Nitro College Football Show, Dogs Uncensored Postgame. I'm Burl. So like and subscribe. We are talking dogs. We're talking Georgia, Florida, the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. This is Georgia's biggest rival, and this is Florida's biggest rival. So this is a game that always has drama because it's a rivalry game, and no one really has a true home field advantage because the fans are split 50-50 down the field. And it's a great atmosphere. It's really cool. But let's talk about the game. What a roller coaster. This one really did have just about everything. It had some big plays, a lot of bad calls, sloppy moments, and somehow, some way, the Dogs find a way to get it done, as usual. And thankfully, game day attire, still undefeated. Been wearing this since after the Bama game. So I'm going to keep rocking it every Saturday. But Georgia, they're just hard to kill. I mean, we joke about this on the big show, but Georgia really is like all of the Steven Seagal movies. Just hard to kill, whatever pun you want to make. They fight and fight and fight. Itchy and scratchy. I mean, it's incredible what they do. But but it's just it's so inconsistent. It really want to give me a heart attack. You know, this is one of the most stressful games I ever watched. And you know, I want to make a little shout out here. Kirby told this story of Kyron Jones calling them the cardiac kids and how Kyron heard it from some guy at Panda Express. Well, guess what? That guy at Panda Express was my dad. So shout out, Dad. Your story made it out there. So I thought that was funny. But this Georgia team is just inconsistent as hell. That's a polite way for me to put it. One drive, Georgia looks like freaking world beaters, just killing things. I mean, Georgia came out on point and drove down the field and looked like it was going to be an easy day. But as it's always is in the SEC, there are no easy days. And I know the rest of the college football world is tired of hearing that, but this is the way it is, man. Across the SEC, across that league, tons of one-score games. And the ones that win those games are the ones that have that mental edge about them. And Georgia has that mental edge. They might pull some dumb shit every now and then, make some boneheaded plays, but at the end of the day, they make just enough plays to get things done. And I think that is a huge, huge compliment to Kirby Smart and his staff for what they're doing. And I want to talk like specifically on the defense. The defense has been frustrating all year. Going into the season, I was like, okay, we got a young defense, we got a lot of young guys, but as long as Kirby's there, I'm not going to worry about the defense too much. The defense has been erratic this year, but in the end, they make just enough plays to win the game. But it is not pretty. It's hard to see who is going to actually step up and be a star on that defense. Right now, it really just looks like it's one man, and that's CJ Allen. He was looking like Roquan Smith N'Kobe Dean running out there today. A lot of the plays he was making, I mean, he was like suplexing DJ Lagway back into the the backfield. It was awesome to watch him play today. He I thought he had like the game of his life. He was in the right place at the right time every time the ball was around him, and when he wasn't, he had that closing speed and was able to make a play, and it was awesome to see. But God, man, that I was hoping going into this game that our defense was finally going to turn the corner, because Florida's offense has been just horrible all year long. But of course, we come in and Florida's offense looked pretty good, all things considered. I mean, they sustained a lot of long drives, which seems to be the trend right now in every Georgia game. It's easy to sustain long drives. Now, they didn't always get points out of those long drives, and that's really the defense. That's really the difference in the defense. Easy enough for me to say. Uh, but they get it done. They get it done. They find ways to get it done. Um, we had another week of bad officiating. I'm not one to complain about the refs for, a game won or lost. And I'm not going to start doing that today, but I am going to say this SEC officiating has been hot garbage all year long. There were just some ridiculous calls today. And I think if you're a Florida fan, you're probably saying the same thing, but on some different plays. But Georgia gets the victory. Georgia moves to 7-1 on the season. Still looking great. Only losses to Alabama by 3 points. So I've been saying that, Georgia's probably the most dangerous team in college football simply because they haven't played a complete game yet. But I don't know that they have it in them, frankly. I don't know that this team has a complete game in them. Not yet. Maybe by the end of the season, but I'm not seeing it right now. If someone else is, please correct me. Tell me I'm crazy. I would love to be wrong about this, but I don't see it happening. I think what we have seen up to this point is what our team is for the rest of the season. And we will see improvement in areas. I mean, we've seen improvement in the secondary. Ellis Robinson coming up huge at the end of the game. Too bad he couldn't squeeze the ball, because that would have been 6 easily. But that was a huge play. Stopped Florida dead, and was pretty much ball game after that. So proud of the Dogs. Always love beating Florida. Always love beating Florida. It's the best, because Florida always beat us when I was growing up and when I was in college. So I'll take beating Florida any day of the week. And if people want to complain about, oh, we didn't beat them bad enough, I don't care. We beat Florida. it's a positive year. Yeah, we beat Tennessee, we beat Auburn, we beat Florida. Taking care of the rivals. Maybe one day we'll figure out how to beat Alabama, but today is not that day. Today was Dogs putting boot to ass against the Florida Gators. All right, so I want to look at some of the stats of the game. This is one part I love doing. So from team perspective here, we had, let's see, Georgia had 361 total yards and Florida had 281. So not a huge offensive game, which I don't think anybody expected it to be that way. Both defenses, even though they are frustrating, still pretty good. I mean, they're both kind of middle of the road, but they have their strengths. Florida really good at getting after the quarterback. Georgia really good at stopping the run. Georgia was able to pass the ball pretty well today, 223 yards. We were able to finally get the run game going when we committed to it. Georgia had 138 yards. Florida had 115. And this stat is one I love. I'm so happy to be looking at right now. It's been the stat that's been a killer for Georgia this year, and that's third down efficiency. On offense, we did pretty good. We were 7 of 15 on third down. On defense, Georgia only allowed 2 third down conversions, 2 out of 11. That's a huge difference from what we have seen. So as bad as it felt, as ugly as it felt, the defense actually played pretty damn good. And that's why I love looking at these numbers, because you always have your feelings after the game about how poorly it went or whatever, just because it feels that way in the moment. But when you go back and look at these numbers and the way things played out, it was a really good game for Georgia. That third down efficiency on defense has been just a killer for Georgia this year. So good to see that stat kind of starting to get flipped for Georgia. We need to see that continue through the rest of the season. We got some really tough games coming up. Going to Mississippi State next, that's not going to be easy. And we still got Texas. We still got Georgia Tech. So we got our work cut out for us. Not an easy road to make the playoff this year. So Georgia, per usual, did not get any sacks. I mean, Georgia's never been a sacking team, but I'd like to see some. I mean, Jesus. It's like, do we have anybody that can rush the passer? And if we do, why aren't we playing them? Oh, man. Yeah, I agree. Luck. There was a lot of luck on third down, but hey, sometimes that's what gets you kickstarted. So, on a negative side, though, so Georgia came into this game being the least penalized team in the SEC. So, as far as Georgia fans go, we've had it pretty good dealing with the refs for the most part. Not getting too many calls on us. But today, Georgia had 7 penalties for 65 yards. And that was a big reason why Florida was able to sustain drives. And I think, and led to a touchdown at one point. Gunner had an interception that wasn't his fault. Noah Thomas just absolutely dropped a ball and went right into the Florida guy's hands. I felt bad for Gunner. He's still been playing rock solid. Time of possession was pretty even. Georgia had it for 32 minutes and Florida had it for 27. So this was a down to the wire nail biter game. Any way you look at it. Gunner had really good numbers today. He had a great day, 20 of 29, 223 yards, 2 touchdowns, that interception. And he technically had 13 carries for 11 yards. He didn't do too much on the ground today, where we've seen him do a lot of that in the past. So that was probably a big point of emphasis, I would imagine, from Florida to try to clamp down on Gunner and keep him in the pocket, keep him from running. Because when Florida did get pressure on Gunner, he was able to escape a lot of times, and for the most part, he was able to make some plays and get the ball downfield to his playmakers. So that was really good. But to me, the player of the game on offense is really Chauncey Bowens. This guy seemingly has come out of nowhere. and he's awesome. I mean, he is awesome. He had 9 carries for 70 yards today. So that's 7.8 yards a carry. And then to top that off, he had the 26 or 36 yard touchdown run that really sealed the game for the Dogs. Nate Frazier, I don't know what it is. I love the kid. He's got the fire, passion, and energy and everything that you want. He's a great kid. But man, he's unfortunately he's not getting it done on the ground. He had 12 carries for 45 yards. It's not even 4 yards a carry. That's really tough. So not really sure what's going to happen there. But we'll see. I hope he can get it turned around at some point. At least he's not fumbling. That's nice. Glad he's not fumbling, but he's lost that big playability that we saw his freshman year, really in that Clemson game last year. So hopefully he gets that back at some point. And then another player of the game candidate on offense, Zachariah Branch. This dude, I hope he stays one more year. I don't know why he would, but my God, he was everything for Georgia today, because Georgia didn't commit to the run hardly at all today. And that was really frustrating, because when we did, we actually ran the ball pretty well. But we were able to hit Zachariah Branch. He had 10 catches for 112 yards. When's the last time? I don't even know the last time Georgia had a 100-yard receiver. So that's phenomenal. That's awesome. Love seeing that. He had some huge plays. A lot of those just, third and long, second long screen passes, making guys miss. Just, he took some shots today. He's got really good chemistry with Gunner. So I love seeing that. Dylan Bell had some good plays today for 4 catches, 43 yards, had that touchdown to open the game. Noah Thomas redeemed himself, catching a touchdown pass. So that was good. We didn't throw to the tight ends. I mean, we really didn't throw it to anybody outside of Zachariah Branch, frankly, when you look at the stats. But it was that's what was working. So why not? And on defense, I mentioned this earlier, CJ Allen led the team in tackles. He had 12 tackles, 12 solo tackles. He was all over the field, and it was awesome to see. So great job by the Dogs there. Just a fun game. So let's talk about how the game went. We'll just kind of run through, the highs and the lows. So first quarter, Georgia came out firing. Beautiful opening drive. Gunner Stockton was locked in, and he was slinging it. But even then, you can tell there was no run game. Still, Gunner was just balling out, and the Dogs actually got a third down stop on Florida's first drive. A rare early defensive win. We haven't seen that really happen all year. But then it started to unravel. Run game just completely disappeared, and 3 and out, bad punt, and boom, Florida ties it up 7-7 on a long pass, busted play, some poor coverage there, and then we get the ball back and start making some progress, but we're still just trying to throw it all over the place. And Noah Thomas had a brutal drop pass that turned into a pick. Luckily, the defense stood tall there and held Florida to a field goal. But still, Florida was able to take advantage of some deep passes, and it looked like to me that KJ Bolden was having a rough day, and then on top of that, still no pass rush from the D line. But late, later, I guess late in the first quarter, second quarter, we actually did start running the ball and we started moving it. We were Georgia was moving the Florida guys. It was great to see, and it seemed like the offense was gonna start coming together. But yeah, Georgia had a chance, and then Roland dropped a deep ball, and drive stalled, and for some reason we went away from the run again. That sounds like a broken record, but that's the way it was. Uh, but again, the defense picked them up, got a great stop. Bowens finally checked in, so we didn't see Bowens come in until the second quarter, and it makes you wonder, like, what's going on? Like, was he banged up? Did he get in trouble? I don't know. Would be nice to get some clarity on that. But then we saw some poor officiating. This most ridiculous call. Gunner tries a hard count, and they call for false start for clapping. I don't know what to say about that. It's enough. I'm tired of these officials. But regardless, the Georgia's defensive line still continue to struggle, but still managing to get stops. Thorson last game famously tweeted that he didn't get to play at all. Because he didn't. Georgia didn't punt at all against Ole Miss. Well, he made up for that today, and he punted a lot, including that awful 25-yard punt. But luckily, Georgia turned around, and Dawgs caught a break when it looked like Gunner had fumbled and Florida recovered, but it got overturned, and they called it a forward pass. So Georgia caught a huge lucky break right before half and was able to get a field goal out of that drive, and that took it to 10-10. So tie ball game at halftime. That's a positive, I would say. Most of the time we go into halftime and we're down, we're losing. So you got to try to find the positives where they lie. All right. So you think, okay, Georgia's a second half team. That's what they keep saying over and over. So now okay, it's going to go way wrong because that's the universe just talking to us. So second half opens up. We give Florida great field position on the kickoff, just poor coverage. But Georgia gets the stop. Stops them coming out of the gate on second half. So that was huge. And then Georgia gets a break with a Florida penalty, and Gunner makes them pay, hit a huge play to Branch, and then Noah Thomas gets the touchdown. And that takes it to 17-10 Dawgs. And it felt like the Dawgs are finally getting in control. And this is what I'm talking about, the inconsistency. So we have drives like that. We have drives like the opening drive. Georgia looks amazing. I mean, clicking on all cylinders, executing, and then the very next drive looks like absolute dog shit. But yeah, it's frustrating to watch, because in that next drive, Florida comes out and Georgia just gives them yards on penalty after penalty after penalty. Florida eventually turns that into a touchdown. Now we're tied 17-all. And then we get the ball back and we have another huge disaster. Bad snap. Gunner takes a huge loss. We're down by the goal line. Quick 3 and out. All the momentum is gone. Florida's driving again. And we hit the fourth quarter. Florida takes the lead with a field goal, goes up 20-17. And honestly, at that point, I felt like, wow, Florida really wants this game more. It just seemed like they wanted it more. maybe it was just because the cameras were more focused on the Florida folks or the Florida players than the Georgia players, but that was the feeling that I had watching this game. And then Gunner started to look a little shaky. He had a bad throw, took a sack. Georgia punted again, and then we had so many injuries in this game. DeMello Jones ends up going down on this one. We lost a few other guys earlier in the game. KJ Bolden got called on a ridiculous targeting penalty. It was stupid, absolutely stupid. But it felt like at this point, so Florida's driving, and it just felt like they were death marching us. But then CJ Allen playing possess, carrying the defense. Florida goes for it. We finally get Florida in a fourth down. We stop them on third down. It's fourth down inside Georgia's 20. And they try to run it, and Georgia gets a hell of a stop. Stonewall them behind the line. It wasn't even close. It was awesome. And that was really when the momentum shifted, because after that, the offense woke up. Gunner had a big 3rd and 8 to Zachariah Branch. I mean, Zachariah Branch is just unreal. And then Chauncey Bowens rips off that 36-yard touchdown run. Dawgs back on top, 23-20. And the defense steps up again. That next drive, Ellis Robinson breaks up a 4th down pass that he could have picked and ran it back for a touchdown, but take what I can get at this point. He played a beautiful play by him. He jumped the route. He was in perfect position. Unfortunately, he didn't get the interception. But we get the ball back, and we waste our first 2 downs, and it's 3rd and long again. But then Georgia runs the greatest play in all of football, the toss sweep. Student body left to Bowens on 3rd and 8, gets the first down. Now we're in the driver's seat, getting ready to close it out. We drive it all the way down to the goal line, and Gunner does a bootleg. Could have had a walk-in touchdown, but did the smart thing, nailed it down at the 1, killed the clock. I mean, he learned from the Auburn game. I would have still loved to see us punch it in, but I'll take it. That was ball game. Dawgs win. It wasn't pretty. It was far from it. The run game took forever to show up. The defense was inconsistent. The refs were atrocious. But Gunner Stockton, Zachariah Branch, Chauncey Bowens, they made enough plays for Georgia to survive. And that's what we did. Georgia survives Florida, and that is all that matters. Dawgs win 23-20, 24-20, and we get yet another victory over those stinking Gators. So I love it. I'm proud to be a Georgia Bulldog. Ain't it great to be a Georgia Bulldog? It's a great day to hate a Gator. If you love college football, if you love the Dogs, like and subscribe. I'm Burl. This is Nitro College Football Show, Georgia post game. Catch us every Sunday. We got our main show. We'll recap the weekend, and then midweek we'll go into some predictions, and then I'll be back here after the next Georgia game, ranting and raving about it too. So till next time, I'm Burl. Go Dogs.